Hey everyone, welcome to Breakout Wednesday for the 21st of August 2024. It's currently 9 p.m. on the West Coast, 11 p.m. on the East Coast, thereabouts. First of all, remember, this is no financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is simply a video blog on how one trader sees market, and everyone needs to take responsibility for their own decisions. All right, so obviously the market's been going up since these 2 days of fear kind of struck. Everyone shut their pants a little bit, and then boom, it's been going up ever since. And obviously, like, this is what the market does, right? You know, at the end of these 2 days, everyone thought, you know, the world was coming to an end and there was going to be a bear market and a recession and everyone was going to lose their houses and get whipped. And then now everyone's forgotten about it, right? And so this is what the market does. You know, it's just a seesaw of emotions. And I think, you know, the best investors and the best traders always remember that, you know, you're a split second away from another 2 big down days. And you always got to have your wits about you, you know. Let's just quickly get through some trades. One of the main ones I've been talking about lately is Hum. Okay, it broke out from this base. It coincided with the 2 down days in the market, but I didn't really get hammered like a lot of the other stocks did. I hung in there, as I chatted about last week, and it started humming along a little bit, and it had this, and then it had earnings come out today, and so. You know, getting into a trade like a day or two before earnings is just like pure gambling, incredibly risky. But if you can get, you know, a buffer in place, that's the only time I'd really hold into earnings. So, you know, a lot of stocks, this is a pretty small buffer for me, right? Like a lot of the stocks I have a much bigger buffer. But that is a little bit of a buffer, but it was still a gamble, right? Like I held into this earnings. It could be down here at 35 cents right now. Okay, look what happened to me last year in Domino's, right? Held into earnings that day. Holy shit. I mean, I got spanked 35% down in one of the biggest positions of my life, you know, in that trade, which obviously was a mistake. It is the way it is, okay, you know, and but it also goes the other way sometimes. When I have a buffer in place, a little buffer in place, it sometimes goes my way. You know, I only trimmed a little bit of this today, which I'm patting myself on the back now that because it closed on its high, but, you know, it could gap down tomorrow, right? And I wish I sold more of it. So let's see. You know, I'll probably trim more if it gaps up or goes for another run tomorrow, but I've still got about 2/3 of that on. So let's see if she wants to go a bit higher. So Hum obviously is the good one. Let's just rattle through some others. The Cochlear trade, like this huge symmetrical triangle, grounded higher, and then it's obviously disappointing. Okay, this is in the self-managed super fund, but then you've gone here, like this is just trading for you, right? Like you've gone from this big symmetrical triangle-based breakout, gone in higher, to now breaking that support, and it's just flipped on us, hasn't it? Went from looking great to looking shit, just like that. And, you know, that's life. That's trading, you know. Tough titties sometimes, you know. So REA, this is shit, I can't remember, but this is one of my biggest positions in the self-managed super fund. Got a couple of parcels, and I've talked about this too much. Okay, I'm going to shut up about it, but I just think it's gone heaps higher. You know, I just think this big base, blue sky. This is just such a winning stock that's just dominating, like, Domain. I mean, who the hell looks at Domain? Do you know what I mean? You know, it's a bit embarrassing to even, like, go to Domain. I think unless you live in the eastern suburbs of Sydney, no offence, you probably don't go to Domain. Do you know what I mean? And so, and their growth in India is remarkable, and that's where, if you do your research and reading about it, there's a lot going on overseas. Like, it's not just Australian centric real estate platform. It's got, you know, it's got roots spreading throughout the world, primarily in India. Okay, but anyway, I won't go into that. That's bore the shit out of people. Let's go to Zero. Okay, you know, I talked about Zero too much, but shit, I just, you know, you would have to just do some serious change of personality for me to consider selling that, you know, but that's that. JDO, okay, another one I've been talking about a lot. Let's just go Yeah, so look, I've been talking a lot about JDO, right? Judo Bank, just because we put in this huge base with Davis boxes up here. Obviously, it peaked out here by like a few pips. I took a loss, and then it went again, and then I took that. Let's just have a look at the Davis boxes that it's giving us here, right? And it gave another signal here and went for it. So I'm in it again, okay? And that's trading. Like, I think that, in my earlier years, I probably wouldn't have taken the second signal because I would have been so bitter that I, lost money on the first signal. But, this is, you got to take the emotions out of it and the ego out of it. JDO doesn't give a shit that I lost money on this one. It's just, if it's a good signal, I'll take it. And the big bases, blue sky above it, I just keep taking them, and it just pays the bills. Just so many more of these win and lose. And if all I got to do in my job is just look for big bases, look for blue sky, and keep having cracks. Okay, if I just keep showing up every week, every day, every month, and having cracks at big bases that tighten on the right hand side with blue sky above it, then I'm telling you, it's impossible to lose. As long as you manage your positions, obviously, and you're not a bit of a muppet. Do you know what I mean? And so let's move on a little bit more. HLS has been chatted about heaps in the forum. Craig started the thread. It's pretty long now, and we've just kind of been furthering on it. HLS has just been basing sideways for so long now. Just these bottoming patterns and this flush out here and a flush out here and a double bottom, and then this huge base, and it's been Davis boxing out the yin yang, and then it broke up today. Obviously, put on an earnings report on big volume with a huge big candle. Okay, so well done. Thanks to Craig. I mean, I hadn't even seen that yet before you posted that, and but I'm in that now. So, mate, I'm going to blame you if it goes down from here. And so let's move on. B8. I just want to quickly talk about the miners, right? So, I was talking a bit about last week or the week before, can't really remember which week it was, that, I hold BH in the self-managed super fund, and I'd gone short on this just to hedge it mainly because obviously I'm losing money in the, as this breaks down major support in the self-managed super fund, but then I'm making money in a different account, and it kind of cancels each other out even though they're under different entities. And it's just the way I do it. I could have shorted it in the self-managed super fund, but I could not be bothered with all the admin and paperwork that self-managed super funds require to, with that sort of short-term trading, whereas in the other account it's just so much easier for me to do. And so, look, it nearly hit this target, right? So obviously classic head and shoulders broke down, missed its target by like a couple pips. I've covered it on this doji day, and so I had a good win on that. Obviously, the self-managed super fund kind of P&L, that paper profit's been wiped out a lot, but that's life. Okay, I'm just hanging in there for the long term, right? So, what's another one to talk about? There's a post on the forum which I kind of have been all over this stock as well, is GEM. All right, and so here's this post in the forum just showing this huge base, and happy days. This huge base on this guy really is like it's going back to when, like 220, like COVID. This is the COVID crash here. It didn't really rally that much during COVID, and now it's just this huge sideways stage one base. For those kind of Stan Weinstein stage one base believers, this is textbook shit. And so, anyway, thanks, once again, whoever posted that, because certainly what brought it to my attention. I'm definitely riding that with you guys. So happy days. And then I talked a bit last week about how the REITs were setting up, APZ, and I talked about one of the Charter Hall ones. I forget what one it was. One of the many boring Charter Hall kind of REITs that there are out there, which I just can't bring myself to ever trade, because it'd just be admitting that how old I'm getting. Do you know what I mean? And APZ it was setting up, and I just kind of wrote it off as being really boring and slow. But it's had a good run, and I was wrong. I probably should have traded it. This is classic, right? If I saw that in a fast-moving, momentum stock, I would have been with a top of $2, right? Resistance hit $2, and all these inside bars just tightening up and compressing against these moving averages. Bang! Like I wouldn't have even thought for 2 seconds. Just would have put the order in and bang! It would have been awesome. But because it was just boring as batshit read, I didn't go near it, and that was dumb. Okay, so that's life. Let's move on. What am I looking at? I'm being super selective. Like I'm in some trades, obviously, at the moment, and I don't really want heaps more. I have a feeling that this stock, like PMEs of the world, everything is just going higher than we think. Like these winning stocks. Like have a look what WiseTech did today. Just the best companies keep winning, don't they? This is why I think the things like Xero and ResMed and all these winning companies are just going to probably keep going a lot higher over the long term. And PMEs are really one of the leaders. And I have traded a lot over the years, but obviously the best thing to do with PME would have been to buy it and never sell it. And but that's wonderful in hindsight. PME is sitting up here at new all-time highs, and I'm just want it to give me a signal. Okay, it's got to give me some tight little thing here. Just please do it. Just give me 7, 8, 9 days in a little range so I can trade it and just get in this trend, because I just have a feeling it can shock everyone and go higher, because everyone, I've talked about it before, but like look at CBA, right? Like I remember, on the Fin Review, there's this podcast called Chanticleer or something that I listen to most weeks, and when it was at like $80, some guy was crapping on about how it's the most expensive bank in the world and overvalued and blah 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 blah, and now it's at 140. It's the same. Like this fin advisors and fund managers all been dumping it all the way up. Everyone just thinks it's too expensive, and I don't know. I just think the expensive things are expensive for a reason, because they're pretty good. It's like the expensive street in Cottesloe, right, or Mosman in Sydney, or the Kirribilli in Sydney. Like they're expensive because they're amazing. And Commonwealth Bank is obviously doing the right thing. It's got such a big market share. They say it's the big 4 banks, but it's really just the big 1 bank, right? The other 3 is shit compared to the CBA. I'm not shit. I'm obviously exaggerating, but the CBA is a clear leader, right? And anyway, I think it's going to go higher in the long term as well. And but I didn't even mean to talk about the bloody CBA. Let's just get back to PME. I just think that I'm just going to stalk this and try and enter if I can, if it gives me a good signal. I'm just never taking things like PME off the watch list, okay? All right, now, what else is there? On the Tiddler spectrum, on the kind of specky end of town, what can be my next hum, okay? And it's a pretty dangerous game to play, trying to find the next hum, because it's pretty unlikely that I will. Usually the next time I try and pull off a trade just after a big win like that, I'll get spanked. So if you're going to pay any attention to this rambling video blog, just remember that usually after a big win, I'm due for a bit of a spanking. AW1 has come up in the Davis scan, okay, and it's just sitting there in this Davis box. That's how I found it. It's got also resistance back here on the 21st of June. It had big volume coming today. Not today, like 7-8 trading days ago. It's in this metal space, and just think the risk reward on that is kind of a bit hummish, kind of a stop down here, trying to bail out up here, and so I've got my eyes on that guy. The other one is Maya, right? And kind of a bit embarrassing talking about Maya, but I was chatting with 2 friends about Telstra, right, when it broke this downtrend and was in this little range, and I didn't take it and I bagged out my mates for taking it, who were listening to this, and then they did really well, made heaps of cash, and now they're giving me shit that I didn't take that, and once again, I was wrong, okay, and they were definitely very right. So you can definitely make money on these boring old school stocks, and Maya is sitting up, and there's all this shit in the news about everyone struggling with the cost of living crisis, and I don't know. I mean, JB Hi-Fi had a pretty good report right the other day, and bang, okay, it's at all-time highs. So it seems like everyone is still spending to some degree, obviously, okay. So Maya's basing there, and that's that. Now, just quickly some US stuff, okay. I just want to quickly just rattle through some stocks I'm looking at on the NASDAQ, because I haven't talked enough about the US lately. We've got eBay is coming up in heaps of Davis boxes, okay. Wow, shitloads, okay. And this is just a sign that this is just obviously grinding higher and just making new highs, but it hasn't really gone crazy or vertical at any point, has it, right? Holy shit, that's a lot of Davis boxes throughout history, but it's now sitting here. It's just tighter than this most recent one, blue sky above it. If you go to like a monthly all-time view on it, let's go back 50 years, okay, it's got, obviously, it's still quite a long way above its all-time high. So I'm just looking at eBay. Haven't really made my mind up yet, but that's one. Now another one is INSM. I just want to quickly, it's just cool having this function here now where you can just quickly find the Davis box instead of doing the scan that I was doing. That's not the, what I was looking. Here we go. So here's a scan I was doing. I was just sitting here in this huge Davis box. Okay, you get Bollinger Bands up there. It's been compressing. You can have a look at the news from back here on the 28th of May in your own time. Obviously a huge gap up that's been kept, and now it's basing there with blue sky above it. So there's a few of these around. The other one is INTU. Just huge base up here. Just going to quickly find it again. Been doing this one a lot lately with a 7-7 top bottom thing, and INTU is just a huge base here. Obviously it's not all-time high, but it's close to it. If we flick to weekly data, big base. Even on monthly data, that's big base. So big base on INTU. And then just last before I piss off is Meta, which is also just coming up in Davis boxes, okay. And it's just, how high can Meta go? I mean, no one knows. How high could Nvidia go before it had that huge run, okay? And Meta could keep going, okay. So I'm just watching here. Obviously we've got like a bit of a cup, bit of a handle forming. If this can just tighten on this right hand side, and it'll give me a pretty good risk reward, okay. I just don't want a deep pullback though. I just want it to stay tight here, and then I'll look to get back into Meta. Alright, that's it guys. Nearly 20 minutes, that's too long. Back next week, and yeah, chat then. Cheers, bye.